everyone, and welcome back once more to UEM 2022, powered by Twitch Student and Intel. Once again, joined by Melvin Izzle and Takua, cover you for the fourth game of the day, which is going back to Group A.
Yeah, we have got BME and 0-2 coming out, and right now, we've got a little bit of a rise coming out from BME. We got to see them earlier in the day, and they looked pretty good, taking down Bristol Warriors. And now the question is, can they keep that momentum going? Because if they win this game, they will be, I believe, 3-1 on the day, taking them up to a 4-4 total scoreline, as is my mental maths trying to come together, which means that they can actually rival for that second place spot. Nobody can catch up to Bobcats now. They are already doing very well for themselves. As let's take a look at the first one of our rosters.
And there it is, BME, Coco, Hunty, Sora, Shruki, and Kiko. We did see them earlier, of course, picking up the win versus Bristol Warriors, again, with their second head-to-head, this time coming out on top, versus the first time where they lost that one. And yeah, it looked like a very different team to the first week, and more cohesive.
The biggest thing that changed for me with this squad was that they did recognize how they wanted to win. Playing the range advantage with things like the Corki against a squad with the Ezreal Karma was really good around the fights. And again, I keep touching on it, but it was just a mirrored way that they won against Bristol to how Bristol had beaten them in the previous matchup between the two teams. So,
Yeah.
let's see who they're going to be facing off against for this one.
Throwing it back to the other end with 0-2's roster, Gatsu, Gorni, Tobu, Pekeko, and Metis.
Now, this was the one win that BME picked up in the first round robin, and it was in decisive fashion. They were playing Tristana mid, and they smashed it, honestly. This was kind of what we were referencing back to in our previous game, talking about how dominant Cayetano's Lucian was, of just the fact that their Tristana went absolutely off on one.
Yeah, don't let them have that again. Be more prepared for the level ones, and I'm sure they will this time. Generally, these cheeses work the first time, but they don't necessarily work the next time when you actually expect the cheese or have an idea of what the enemy team might be trying to do early on in the game.
Yeah, TLDR, don't let the don't let the Tristana through again for mid lane, and especially don't pick Orianna behind and leave that as something that is on the table, because wasn't a great time for Toibu in the mid lane. It was just Sora domination from pretty much minute one, as now we have got a completely different form looking BME. 0-2 haven't been able to turn their luck around as of yet. I believe mathematically they are eliminated from making their way out now. So the question is, will they play spoiler against the team that left them with such a bad taste in their mouth after the first round robin?
Yeah, and you got to feel like, well, you know, that Tristana game,
I
maybe trying to make an impact against that so you don't come out of the tournament, you know, quite as with your head in your hands.
So, things that I really want to look into for this game is when you have a team that is mathematically eliminated. We see it all the time in pro play. I feel like Astralis was a good example of this. As soon as you are out of contention, that's when the pressure is off, and you can just play completely unhinged. Now, most of the time, that actually ends up being really good, because a lot of the time when you're in these environments against other teams who won their own leagues, you're playing with limits. You are playing with a limiter on you going, okay, I want to go for this solo kill. I would be 90% sure I'd have it if this was in solo queue, but right now I don't want to risk it. Now, play it like it's solo queue. Who cares? You could get those kills, and you just want to look flashy. You want to leave everybody with a good memory of 0-2 for this tournament, and you have the opportunity to do it right now against a team that really did mess you around the last time.
Yeah, exactly that. And as for BME, you need to make sure you get this one, because every win matters here. And well, we saw last time proactive junglers. I expect that will be the same case here with an AP top. How about you?
Ooh, feel like AP tops have been not necessarily the name of the game recently, but overall between these two, definitely likely for Coco. They had some moments of brilliance on the Akali the last time around. Trying to remember the specifics of that one, but there was a big team fight that happened, and they managed to pick up a surprise triple kill that didn't exactly even the game out, but definitely made it a lot more competitive than it had any right to be. But now, we need to try and see what these teams can actually pull out. If they will be allowed some of their comfort picks, because that's also something 0-2 could go for, or they might just go for the strategy of, let's fully ban out one player, leave them on an island, and then just dogpile them. And if we can build up a lead like that, then it's pretty much exactly what BME did to you with that Tristana mid.
You said it right there. That's the game plan for you. See what you can do versus the team. I mean, outside of that, rest of it's going to play out in draft because, I mean, 0-2, they really need to be a little bit more careful. We talked about that in terms of the early game and the invade. What about lane matchups?
As far as lane matchups go, again, it's one of those ones where I feel like it was a bit unfair because it was completely distorted the last time we saw these teams play just because of that. I say it again, Tristana mid. But 0-2 also picked themselves a losing matchup top lane because of that Karma flex pick that BME used. They sent the Karma up into the top lane, they picked it on the first, and then they were red sides, they were able to get shenanigans going, which left an awful matchup of that Karma into Wukong, one of the worst matchups in the game for Wukong because you can't do anything to Karma. And admittedly, the Karma did get put behind a little bit for BME, but it didn't end up mattering because you were just a utility pick at the end of it. It was just Coco existing and being a massive shield bot for their hyper ADCs.
I mean, at the end of the day, that is kind of just not really what you want to happen. Karma working out perfectly there, and it is kind of the power of the pick, especially in the tournament so far. Most teams have caught on to the ability to either neuter lanes, flex it into multiple lanes. In fact, it has been played in 4 different lanes, including ADC as the last one. So until we see a Karma jungle, which I don't think is going to happen,
it's the time to revolutionize.
It's been played everywhere.
If you're already out of the tournament, you might as well do something wacky, whether that be pulling out your favorite solo queue pick throughout the years. Or, admittedly, there are also the teams that want to really still, like, try hard, because this is the best practice you are going to get for a while, right? Like, until the next UEM, you won't be playing against all these teams on the regular. You'll be back in your own regional leagues. And one of the things that happens a lot of the time when teams go international, again, this is for full pro play, but it's a very similar environment for all these guys playing today, is that you get a bit of burnout, is the thing. You go play against the best competition, and then you can let your standard slip. There's 2 ways it goes. You either use that as fuel if you lose to go, okay, I know how I can play better because I got, well, pretty much bopped by the best in the region. So now we can try and improve, come back next time, and really put on a show, which is what I'm hoping 0-2 will take from this one. Alternately, it can just lead to complete burnout, which amazingly we haven't seen from Kit yet. I'm going to use them as the example because when you get second into first twice, you would expect them to burn out eventually, but no, they just seem immune.
I mean, I guess they got the secret formula. I think that's the Kit's key to success. They have it there. But no, of course, it's a very high level of play, and definitely the highest level of play for many of these players, which I'm sure is an experience that they will definitely remember and hopefully enjoy. Even if you can't make it, it is about, well, have a little bit of fun at least with these games. Try to win if that's what you want to do, or just play fun picks. Maybe when he can get his OTP and Zac if BME don't actually end up banning that one through, but BME do actually really need to win this one, so I doubt that will come through.
You can't really... That's the issue where it's one way but not the other. It's like, well, I get it. If we were out of contention, sure. But the thing is, Uladag did lose to BME earlier today, so if they end up going down in the match that I believe is being played right now, if not has already ended, but we'll update you when we hear about that, they have their last game still to go next against Braves, who, as we saw in the first time we had the teams match up, what we didn't realise is that was very likely to be first versus second as it finished on the initial day. Now, that could be the competition for making your way to that last chance qualifier, which is just so perfect of a name for what it's ending up being at this point, because if we see, and I know I've said it if a lot, but TLDR, if BME win here, then they need to have a faster game time. So they need to be speedrunning this game faster than Ulugad to actually have a competition.
Yeah, that's part of the question. That's the way that we're doing rules here, is the fastest game differential. So your average game speed, whoever is faster in their wins, will break even if they actually manage to tie at some point. So very important that BME gets the win first and foremost, and then does it in a fast manner in the case of a tie. But here we are finally in the draft at last.
Drum roll.
And
Where's the
where's
Zach?
Zach?
There it is.
Yeah, there it is.
Sad but necessary, as we had on the other side last time these teams matched up. It was the Lee Sin, the Zeri, and the Jin banned away first by O2. We aren't getting that yet, as now we'll see. Remember, I'll run you through it again, guys. I know you've heard me say it a lot, and you must be getting sick of me by now, but 12.5, Jinx, Zeri, Aphelios, blah, 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 Hecarim, very good. Blah. You've done. Now you've got the summary, you know what we're going to get. Oh yeah, also the errata of Karma is probably going to get picked first by one of these teams just because nobody bans it, but everybody wants it.
Here we go. LB, Camille, everything coming through. Lee Sin, actually, haven't seen that one in a little bit, but if I'm not mistaken, that the BME does play it slightly, so another proactive jungler to take away from Hunty, but the Bear is still open, the Hecarim is still open, so these picks are still available for the jungle.
I think we'll take this one a little bit chill compared to the others because we don't know the tone of the game yet, and it's very hard to set that until we see what O2 or 02's first picks are. Because at the end of the day, they have got scary things like the Tryndamere and the Rengar playable in the top lane for Gatsu. They have had their Camille banned away, which was one of their better performances, as I'm very curious to see what gets left, because remember, actually that is something that is important to remind you, Rengar rework is not here yet. We do not have that on this patch, so if they want to play at top lane, it will be playing without those super buffs that they've had recently.
Yeah, I don't know how you've experienced it in solo queue, but it has not been very fun for me as an ADC player when I'm not playing an ADC that abuses shield bow. I was playing MF one game and their Rengar literally died for me in virtually every fight or just killed me outright, and there's nothing I could do about it because I couldn't really itemize against it, so...
I think I had one good game against it where I was playing Viego, and it wasn't because I was playing Viego, it's because I got mid ahead, and then they just walked with me so we could hold hands whenever we walk near a bush against the Rengar, as now we get very standard opening, we'll say, actually opting away from that Hecarim and saying, no, I much prefer the Xin Zhao for this one. It is something that we know for a fact that Gorny prefers over that pick. So they are on Comfort right now. It's the right way to go. Comfort plus meta, that is a winning recipe. So the question is, what will it be? And it's going to be actually the Jhin slapped down straight away. This was a pick that was taken away last time around.
Yeah, just leaving something for Pikeko in the bot lane. Very safe. More of a facilitating ADC as far as picks go. You typically think of the Jhin and the Ashe as these sorts of picks that you throw down there. You kind of either neutralize a lane or just leave it be and then use their utility in team fights to your advantage. And that is Viego paired with the Jinx here. Reset City for BME.
Yeah, pretty much you can't lose this game until the Nexus explodes is what you've got so far for your opening picks. Whenever you see Jinx or Viego, it really does just set off the flares of like, don't int a fight. Dear God, do not int a fight. If we have a single bad play, it all goes absolutely wrong. And having both of them doubles down on that in a big way. We do get the Thresh picked up though. That is a nice answer into the Nautilus, being able to flay them away when they go in and have that Lantern to save whoever is getting jumped on by them. So far, 0-2, they have got a utility bot lane that can survive pretty well on its own. What are they going to be able to do to give themselves some carries in the top side? I expect Gatsu will get counter pick. Now the question is, what blinds do you want to ban away from your opposition? There's a lot of ones like the Gragas is something worth getting rid of. With that J-Span, makes me think potentially we might be getting the Gnar in the top lane. Maybe that is something that would make a lot of sense. Yeah. Maybe if you get an Irelia ban next, that really does double down on save mid counter pick.
Yeah, hard to say right now, not too sure. Both these teams have a relatively wide pool, although I will say that Coco is an AP top player for the most part. One game with Darius, which they did lose, but it was picked.
It was picked. If you're willing to lock it in, that means you have to be confident enough to play it on stage, and that is the most important part at the end of the day. It's actually just going to be split priority, ban away one from each, fine, getting rid of a lot of poke style, which makes a lot of sense when you don't have super hard engage just this moment. And the thing is, neither team outside of the Nautilus really does have that go button, which does make me think that things like the Malphite, things like, try to think of engaged mids actually, there's not really too many left on the table. Ari already banned, Veigar gone away. Syndra a bit more of a pick style admittedly, but a lot of those taken out. So I'm expecting utility tops to really be the way to go this draft.
Okay, here we go. Hover coming through, not just yet, but utility tops likewise. That Karma is still open, as we've mentioned. Whether it will continue to have the presence that she currently has, we will see in due course, and there will be one of those control mages for the mid lane.
Well, it pairs up nicely with utility top when we see what that's going to end up being for. Gatsu in the top lane does not have their Camille open. They could look for the Wukong, knowing that this time around they can't get tricked into playing Wukong into Karma, so that is something that we can at least put some credit towards them over on. Alternately, we could see things like the Rengar. Like, all the picks we've listed off for Gatsu in this top lane are still viable. We said it earlier. I don't know how I didn't see it coming. It's actually the run back of the Tristan to Ori mid. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know why we weren't building that up when the Orianna was locked in. It just didn't click in my head because I thought there's no way you opt into this a second time around. Now, question is, what do you have? Because the enemy team heavily lacks engage. They really do need to play with a spaced kind of team fight using things like the Gwen to buy a lot of that. Oh, that's kind of dirty. That's pretty
you
good.
have two ADCs and a Gwen that actually gets a huge amount of value of the Counter-Strike. Not only does the Counter-Strike avoid auto attacks, but it does also give Jax a little bit of a raw damage reduction anyway, so potentially a massive point of pressure from 0-2 in this top side.
And I will say, Gatsu on this Jax, a really good ball delivery system. Because it's just a very low cooldown dash, point and click. You can't mess it up. You have a stun as well, so you could chain into the shockwave one way or the other. So I really like what 0-2 have got. The thing is, they are quite low DPS if Gatsu isn't ahead. So that is the lane we need to keep our eye on and see how it goes. Because we've already had a Gwen upset in the top lane today in a matchup that really should not have been Gwen favored. So if Coco, by the looks of it, taking this Ignite, can get off to an early lead, hopefully with the help of Hunty in that case, then this will be the 0-2 game plan put down pretty early on. No tanks, pretty much this game. Nobody is going to be that tanky. A couple bruisers for 0-2, but everybody will be squishy, everybody will be susceptible, and when you have champions like Jhin, Jinx, and Viego, that is exactly what they love to see.
Yeah. There's no other way to put it. But we really do need to watch out for the first few minutes of the game, because as last time with the Tristana Orianna, yeah, it all went down in the first few minutes, and then from there, that was pretty much already all set up. So, yet again, watch for early levels, hopefully 0-2, take it a little bit easier as we load onto the Rift shortly.
I'm going to quote myself in the notes I was taking. I was recapping all the matchups last time around, so I was just leaving little timestamps with what happened so I could remember quickly. I'm just going to read you all this one. 12 minutes 30, Sora's first solo kill, 4-0 Tristana. Shortly after that, second solo kill Tristana after Orianna TP's back into lane. Dies. Sora wins game, is pretty much why I decided that there was no point taking more notes after that, because oddly enough, when you have that fed of Tristana, it's really, really easy to win. She's an amazing tower destroyer, which means sieging is free. She's amazing in the team fights, having that reset-y spaghetti mechanic.
Yeah.
It's just, honestly, if a team goes out of position in this game, both sides have such great tools to just completely dominate the fight. So this is actually going to be one of those games where, regardless of who is far ahead, it is going to be all about who makes the first mistake in a fight.
Yeah. And the question is then, will 0-2 have fun today?
I hope all the teams have fun. Good competition is always fun, and for these teams that are obviously very die-hard competitors to be here, you expect that they're going to be coming in and just at this point giving it their best swing, and they have got the tools to do it for 0-2 this time around, and BME have everything to lose. I would say nothing to gain, but they really do have a lot to gain.
They do have quite a lot to gain, I would say so, yeah. I mean, getting it to top 2 gets you in for a shot at winning some of that juicy prize pool that the students definitely appreciate as we get a Pain level 1 this time.
Nothing too aggressive, as I was looking at it like, that doesn't look right. That is a Doran shield from Toibu on the Orianna. You know what? If I had to play against Sora's hyper-fed Tristana once,
Trauma.
and then you actually play the exact same matchup again, fair enough. The Tristana can get a lot more readily available poke with that Hail of Blades and the rocket. So scary. The bomb just absolutely chunks you out in lane, and the ability for them to all in level 2 onwards is absurd. Orianna does not have a good way to play against it. I'm actually curious to see if Toby will level the E first and just try and trade over autos, because it's a lot safer than throwing out the Q, because the thing is, for Orianna, whenever she doesn't have the ball, she is way below the average armor NMR, because whoever has the ball on them gets those bonuses. Orianna is completely balanced around having the ball on her, so that means if she ever goes for an aggressive trade, Sora could go in and just absolutely decimate.
It's one of the weaknesses of the champion in return for the versatility and safety that the ball can provide sometimes. It's also worth noting that Gorny has opted for the Halo Blades here, so going to get those extra autos off in conjunction with his W rather than the Conqueror with the raw damage and healing.
Have relatively passive lanes. Both of these junglers, I would say at least the Viego is a lot more farm heavy, doesn't want to be ganking as much, but is hunty at the end of the day. We've actually gone for the blue smite, which does indicate that they want to be getting into more skirmishes and really holding down that Orianna and Jhin, as opposed to getting into the heavy trades with the Jax and the Xin Zhao. As you can see here, you don't really want to get into a long trade with Jax, even as Gwen, because while you have the Conqueror, his lethal tempo plus passive is absurd. You'll think that they are full build if they ever get into an elongated trade, just with how quick they'll be slapping.
That's it right now. Xin still top side, Viego coming down, palming bot instead. Potentially looking up to set up plays on both sides of the map, depending on lane states. What in the world is going... Okay, it's because of the Naught hook going to
nice.
tower. For a second there, I was really confused about how lengthy that fresh hook was. But
Very well played by Kiko. As we do have finally the aggression played up the top. That is a no flash Gwen. If that E had landed, that was definitely a dead target.
But that's the power of the Halo Blades early on with the extra autos. Gorny picks up the first blood.
Very nice. And Toibu getting to survive in this mid lane. I know I say it like it's as big of an achievement as getting the first blood top, but it really is when you consider just how aggressive Sora is on this pick. Not having that early lead does put them in a bit of a skew-if position, because the thing is, Orianna actually does have two really good ball delivery systems, because while they have the Jax, which is point and click, so is the Xin Zhao dash. If you're already marked and you try and escape, the chase down is so good between this mid jungle for the 0-2 squad.
It's all you need. But the problem is you've got to survive as the Orion, and this is what we're talking about. And Dawn Shield is helping him out a little bit, but still getting zoned off for some farm here and there. So in time, we'll work out what the differential actually is. As Gorny goes for a peak gank at the top side, and this time Gwen is immune.
That was really nice by Coco, being able to avoid the initial play. If that connected, I would have been rather confident to say that that'd be a dead Gwen, and I really like this from 0-2, completely playing around their win condition, actually itemizing with that Doran shield to avoid plays going down mid. Hold on a minute though, Hunty's coming bot.
There, but the re-engaged Nautilus's base numbers are really damn high, and Shruki should be able to get that one up. That's a get excited right here. And that's probably another kill. Metis flashing away, but it's followed up by Hunties. And the Viego will secure that one onto the fresh. 2 kills for the enemy.
Very nice targets as well. You give it over to your Jinx and your Thresh. That's Viego. Don't worry, guys. It just always gets me whenever I look at a scoreboard with a Viego. Hold on a moment. This is aggressive from Coco, as it needs to be. You are against a Jax with no corrupting potion stacks left. You have a biscuit, but that's about it. So Coco definitely in a winning position right here. As long as they have that 4-stacked Q up, it's really intimidating for Gatsu to jump in, because you can buffer that while he is going for the stun, and then it's almost as if you didn't get stunned.
It's a really awkward lane stay here for the Jax. You really want to get this crash. You can't quite get it there on that wave, and now that Hunty's up here, Coco has basically kept the entire wave on his side of the wave. Should be able to freeze that, in fact. So in a much worse situation now. Decides not to.
I think it's just because they want to look for something, but at the end of the day, your 2 auto attackers against the Jax, guys. Unless they are actually very overextended, the counter-strike will always get them away to safety. And it looks like, instead of going for the freeze like you're alluding to, they just want to make sure there is no risk of getting dived by Gorny on the Xin Zhao, who is, by the way, building the Lethality. as we get a very brief pause. Not sure what that was, but everybody seems to be fine. Dragon being secured. We're all groovy, guys. Let's see what is going to play out from here now.
Yeah, good to give Gwen the reset there. Safer option, of course, you get a little bit less farm this way, but it still works out just fine. Dragon going down, that's a Hex deck. Ocean will be the next one. And, well, 0-2, really looking to play spoiler right now.
Oh, the shockwave goes down.
Oh. Still has the W available. That does latch on Flash away. You do get that away now from the Tristana. A little less safety the next time that you want to go on Sora.
And that means the next time Shockwave is up as well, Webu can get very aggressive with that one, because like you saw, thing about Tristana jump is it is very telegraphed where you're going to go just because of how the jump animation is. It's a very good read by Gorny, but it's fished out as now another play onto bot. The traps will block this though.
Metis is going to tank one of them up. Gorny can still go for the play, but Nautilus is a little bit too healthy and under the turret for you to be able to go any further with that one.
So I know earlier I was saying that there are basically only squishies and then 2 bruisers, but if you're going for the lethality build on this Xin Zhao, you're basically an assassin at this point. You are a utility assassin who can knock people up. You'll deal a lot of damage if you are ahead of the curve, which they currently are. Not in CS though, as Hunty doing an amazing job of just power farming their way to victory right now, and still having an impact, something that we really didn't consider this player for. They were all about the raw ganking junglers.
Oh, they've shown, but the dredge line still connects. Manages to dodge that death sentence. Really nice movement from Kiko there, but there's not enough damage from BME over, and therefore Hunty has to go for the play. They get the kill in the end, and actually I'm going to eat my words because BME managed to turn it around onto Gorny as well.
Oh, hold on, Shruki just hit 6. The rocket comes out, and it will collect
my words.
Kill. BME want that chance to get to the qualifier. They want it to come down to head-to-head. They do not want to be left here in the dust. Team finding new life today in this tournament, and I am very excited to see what else they will do this game.
Although, hold on for the moment, as Gatsu gets that trade-off. Coco is safe for the time being, I suppose. But yes, Shruki right now looking massive, 3-0-2, really ahead Jinx, and when you manage to accelerate a scaling champion like the Jinx, it can end up getting pretty dicey for your opposition.
I love this play onto the top side, but remember, Counter-Strike basically means you're invulnerable against these 3 champions, and Gorny is here with the absolutely necessary save. Thing is, Tristana does have the ultimate, so they could scoot Gatsu out of tower, and after they've expended that dash, it will be a minimum summoner requirement to get out.
Yeah, Gorny, the positioning there and the recognition between the roams, highlighting the fact that, oh, Sora's not in mid lane anymore, shoved out the wave, probably going for a roam here, covers the play, and therefore BME cannot make it. So, great play from Gorny, just the recognition.
Gatsu, that's what we wanted to see in the solo matchup. Unfortunately for Coco, they don't get to start the game with a extra Bramble Vest just for existing this time around, as it will be Hunty. I don't think you have the damage to kill. They are just waiting for their ultimate CDR. They're going to be on the run.
I mean, Gorny can take this one. Hunty is also a very good duelist himself, but with the Halo Blades and the early lethality, it should be a kill. Flash over, and Toibu collects that one.
Oh, hold on a moment. That's a dead double kill.
Happening. Yep, that is a double kill for the Jinx with that depth charge coming through. Now, with 5 kills, Shruki. Wow.
Okay. That is a 5-kill Jinx. Remember, though, they are against a Jax Orianna and a Burst Xin Zhao. All that Pekeko needs to do in these fights when it comes to it is just try and lock them up. If they manage to get a single Deadly Flourish that holds somebody down, the execute damage will be so big for these fights. As now, trying to zone, multiple members mid. Time to look at towers. I think it's actually only 1 plate taken in bot and mid lane on the behalf of BME. Rift Herald is now in their pocket though. So as soon as we see one of these towers start to get chunked out, that is going to set off the jungler alarm bells of please come put a Rift Herald down here and get a lot of gold.
Alright. 18.4 to BME, that means a 2,500 lead for the time being. Ocean up in 30 seconds. Right now, BME have the setup. They should be able to push out both mid and bot side to gain priority into this objective. Hunty and Kiko right here scouting it out as well.
I think
Don't think 0-2 on a contest.
I don't think they will contest, but I think they might actually just chuck down the Rift Herald somewhere. Because normally, the play you want to go for is use the Rift Herald to buy pressure so you can start the Dragon. Now, if you let the enemy team get Dragon, which I think you're right is the correct play. Hold on a minute, Metis being dived. This is aggressive beyond belief.
When you have that much gold onto a Jinx, it's something you can definitely do at this point. Oh my word. It's just, the aim is there. Shruki hitting every single Death Rocket this game. There's the Rift Herald.
This is aggressive if you chase into it. That is an Orianna, remember.
Flash, stun, Crescent Guard to protect, but the Shockwave yanks them back, and that means they can't make the chase. Hunty's still looking for it onto the Orianna, but you're 2 levels down. Heartbreaker coming for a lot of damage. There's Gatsu with the return, the save onto Toibu. Absolutely massive here on the Jax, and that means that Beamy just can't do anything.
That is the move you needed to have, because the Dragon is now stopped due to that chase on both sides. And yeah, the Jinx is completely out of control. This is by far the best of the 3 ADCs in the game right now. But at the end of the day, it's still got the same weaknesses that we've talked about the entire time, if not more. Because the Tristana, well, now with a Gale Force as well, has 2 to 3 dashes to escape from danger, not including any reset generated ones. That's 3 resets on the BME squad, by the way. And the thing on the other side, oh, hold on, this is lovely.
Oh, the flash play there, you know they're on their own. Curtain call, can the shots connect?
They need 2 quick, Hunty's coming.
Sniper, only 2, 3, 1 more will do it! Manages to connect the shutdown just about, but here comes Hunty, looking for Metis on this one. Flay back, and there it is, the disengage comes through. Massive play from the bot lane to recognize that Shruki was alone.
Such a big gold injection onto this Jhin, and it comes at the perfect time, because it means that all this Dragon pressure that was being built up by BME is just waved away. They're able to go for it if they want to, but he's going to need the committal of everybody over here. It looks like, just because of the cooldowns blown, Zero-T will not try and contest. Fair enough, you don't have to. Let's find out what soul you're going to be competing for this time around in potentially the most important game of BME's tournament.
Mountain. That is a very important soul, in fact, with the resistances there potentially neutering a lot of damage, preventing a lot of burst, could be monumental for BME, especially on those 2 AD carries.
I think it's brilliant for both, because if you look at it for BME, if they get the Mountain Soul, one of the biggest issues we said about the entirety of the 0-2 comp, they are burst reliant. Okay, if we get a Mountain Soul, that helps mitigate some of that burst. Cool, thumbs up, we're good. Look at the other side though, and you have 3 resetters on the side of BME. So 0-2, if they manage to get the Mountain Soul and deny a solitary reset in a fight, that completely turns the trajectory of the fight. Think about it. How much more value BME get if somebody dies in a fight? It is absolute insanity. Not to even mention things like Triumph, which I think will be a genuinely important factor for a lot of these skirmishes.
Yep, especially with the roster that you have. 3 reset champions. Very tight skirmishes in general. You're going in on 0-2 as well. A lot of extra sustain, essentially. Gatsu making the trade. Gorny is here, but Hunty is also here to respond. That means Gorny just goes down immediately. Slain by Coco. Gatsu forced to ward hop out.
Can't knock them away while they're in the mist, as now Gorny slowed down quite a bit on this Zinza. They're going for the Immortal Shield Bow. Going for the crit damage build. Fine. It's not going... Okay, hold on a minute. Gekko, this is... Just movement is what we'll call that one. Gets them out. Now you have Metis. I like this a lot. Yep, priority. It's just about when do the hooks go.
Oof. Very tight. Impressive, though, how the Jhin and Fresh are managing to keep up, but there comes the depth charge. There goes the anchor as well. And no damage coming through just yet. Jinx is out of mana right now. Spammed a few too many Fishbones rockets and is unable to do any more with it.
Very, very close performance so far from both teams, as Hunty being chased out of the 0-2 jungle. Gonna be able to hit a little bit onto this tower, but no Rift Herald in pocket. It's not going to go down. Okay,
and we pan back, and it's more action. Nothing out of the ordinary here, but this time Fresh going down again, and another kill to Shruki.
Oh, the aggression never stops as it continues right into mid. Hunty not going to be able to get this one. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. If there was a most improved player... much of an advantage Sora had the last time they played this exact same matchup, but learning so much of how to play it safely and absolutely setting the tone for the game.
That's it right now. Gold still in BME's advantage, but it's practically moot at this point with only 717 kills in 16 minutes, almost a minute for each one. And absolute chaos is, I think, how I would describe this.
Well put. Got a bit of time for respite, as amazingly, the Jhin Thresh has had priority for quite a while, despite the Jinx's lead in itemization. And that's just because the Nautilus can't do anything to contest. If there isn't an all-in, this champion basically doesn't function in the lane. Thresh will deny any aggressive plays, and while we've seen that Kiko can avoid getting hooked by matching with their own to escape, that's only a play that protects you. It doesn't do anything for Shruki. They're basically 1v2 in the lane, and the Nautilus is just there in case 0-2 want to get over aggressive.
We're testing these objectives right now. This is probably the big part. These dragons stacking mountains here. Those extra resistances we talked about, but Metis landing the hook, doesn't land, the shockwave manages to get themselves out of that one. The Gale Force and then the knockback with the Buster Shot manages to get Sora back out to safety. Coco now onto another trade, it just doesn't end. Gorny is here, however, Needle's also present, not quite enough damage. No, the Ignite manages to catch the Jax out right at the end. And people are just dying constantly.
That is going to be a lot of important cooldowns, both the ultimates from the top laners down, flash from Gatsu, but also if we take a look at this dragon, which is spawning in 23 seconds, because Metis has come to mid lane to secure that first blood tower, A, amazing you managed to do that against this Jinx, but B, it means that now you've completely given up priority around this dragon, and it leaves Toibu in a very scary spot, but Metis doing a great job on the Thresh, just being there to deny any pressure. Keep your mid laner safe. You'll sacrifice the second dragon, which, again, isn't great, but you get a big lead on the map and will be able to turn it into a Rift Herald, so you're not completely behind. It just means that you need to make plays proactively. You can't fall behind and give up dragons. Those two things do not go hand in hand.
Exactly that, and that's why we do get that Rift Herald, as you mentioned, in the top side, and with the fact that you have a long lane there, only the tier 2 for top and the tier 2 in mid, that top side jungle is exceedingly unsafe for BME now, and hopefully 0-2 can leverage that to their advantage.
Especially with the Baron spawning in a minute 20. While I say that this team lacks DPS, if Jax is allowed to hit on to an objective, they can do quite a lot. And the Zin's out with this lifesteal item in tow will be able to at least sustain themselves. Zin's are the best sustained, well, I guess hitters is the way to say it. Just because of that 3-hit passive that heals them up every third one, regardless of what you're against, means that you take jungle very healthily, and if you are on a Baron, you are pretty good for base tank.
Okay, 4 minutes. Every time, we've got to get a timer. 4 minutes until the objective, but I'm sure there's still kills coming back here and there, but right now no one really looking to contest anything, just farming it up for the time being. And you have to remember that BME does have relatively strong scaling, Tristana, Jinx, Gwen, so they're pretty happy to just do this.
I'm really curious to see if Shruki goes for any defensive itemization, and if so, when. Because the locket for Kiko isn't going to be enough to keep you safe in these fights. Because, spoiler, if... Oh, that's a really good ult, I like that. If Toibu goes for the Shadow Flame, then we already talked about earlier, you basically just effectively reduced your own MR by using that to protect yourself from Orianna. And when I'm thinking about it, by going for this Kraken Slayer, yeah, you'll do a lot, but against Jax, you don't actually get to auto them. Against Xin, you don't actually get to auto them. And then the other three don't want to be in range for you to auto them. So, potentially, I'm not going to say an item blunder from Shruki, but it means that they need to play the fights in a very specific manner, where they are the cleanup crew for Sora and Hunty.
And for Hunty and Sora, it's still very difficult to get onto this combination of the Xin Zhao and the Jax. It does depend on when either of those use their cooldowns, but Shruki not... I'm a bit confused as to why Pakeko tanked so much from the Lantern, but I guess it's all a bait in the end as they go on to Kiko Gorny, leading the charge, going to dash forward straight onto Shruki. There comes the curtain call, and this is all coming together. Unfortunately, only just the one for now, but Shruki gets so low that Gordy's able to pick that one up in the end. 0-2, 0-2 with the return play.
Because in the meantime, we had Sora and Hunty chasing Toibu. They flanked them in the bottom lane as they showed where those minions are crashing right now, and the chase was perfect from Toibu to escape.
Shockwave comes through, needles aren't there, you can't actually pick anything up. Gatsu's coming back in with the counter-strike, stuns down. You don't have the CC to follow, but you might have the damage. Flash play from Metis, that might be enough. That's another kill, and 0-2 have just opened up the game.
They can't secure any more turrets from here with that Rift Herald going down, but we see the power of this comp. While they do not have resets, when you have such good, reliable CC as the Jax, as the Zinzao, as the Jhin and Thresh follow-up to those with Orianna as the backup DPS, you can kill anybody that steps out of position very quickly. As I'm actually excited to see what Gorny goes here. I think they're going to go for the Yomus so they could just keep this chase down effect going. It makes so much sense when you see how these fights are playing out that they just want to be first one in, get the initial knock-up for somebody, followed up by the rest of the team. They kill a target, wait for cooldowns, and then come back in. They don't get the joy of resets, but they definitely are playing like they have it.
Yeah, 0-2 really making sure that they don't want to go 0-2 versus this Tristana. Making it a 1-1, hopefully, telling everyone that they're not this team that has come to UEM and just not put up the fight. Going to play Spoiler versus BME right now with the lead. Sure, they're behind one Drake, but currently with the structures and the slight gold advantage they have, it's not looking great for BME as well.
We do have Baron available, Dragon up in 40, but a lot of members isolated in this top lane right now, as this is a trap within a trap. BME think that they've got Toibu, but no, no, no. O2 have got you.
Pincer, but Toibu still might go down. The damage going onto it, but Viego doesn't quite get the reset yet. It's under tower. He can't pick it up safely. It'll take too much damage. But unfortunately, for 0-2, the damage wasn't there for the rest. You haven't killed a single member. Hunty stays alive. Sora gets the shutdown, and suddenly it's on the other end.
Absolutely dire, and it all came off of that first reset at the beginning, giving Sora the mobility to get over and help the rest of their team. I would say short of a Jhin ultimate steal onto this Baron, it is a foregone conclusion. The ult is available. Could we maybe take a look over there as Gatsu will secure it? Oh, every time.
What? Yeah, blocked in the end.
But
5-man Baron.
Because we had Pekeko putting the fear of God into the opposition at that Baron with the ultimate, it bought enough time for Gatsu to get the dragon, get out, equalized on that front. Gold pretty much even, itemization pretty much even now. Even when you consider how far ahead Shruki was this game, Keko is now pretty much in the exact same spot. They don't have an IE, but they will soon be building towards their own rapid fire cannon. And considering this Jhin is far more utility, 4-shot based than the Jinx, I would say that the playing field has never felt closer for these two teams than right now.
Pretty much everything is even except the structures. However, with that Baron buff now secured, it depends on how much you can do with it. The lanes are open. You have 5 members with it. I don't know if Sora Gorny on that one.
I think they saw the ward.
I think so.
Before it was disabled by the red trinket, they definitely saw, so they know where Gorny is, and you can see Hunty immediately, well, going by the namesake and hunting him down. Coco somehow gets a solo kill. Hold on a minute, I don't know how that was able to be done, but now you need to get something here.
Igniting Gwen, but Hunty's in trouble, going for the re-engage. Heartbreak to avoid the shockwave, but it's just too much damage from the side of O2, and this means that they can lay it down onto BME instead. 2 going down, Hunty and Sora looking for Kiko. Right now, the Zin's gonna land, not able to dash just yet, but I think the chase down is inevitable alongside the movement speed from the Scuttle Crab. Hook doesn't go through. There's the next one, should be able to dash over in a short period of time.
They're
actually
dead,
making
but
the
it's
chase
slow.
though.
And the thing is, they're wasting so much time. On the other side of the map, Coco, they secured tier 2 tower off of this, and because Toibu was pushing down the mid lane, and Shruki was doing a great job just harassing Keko, you've managed to get a free tower on the side lane. Admittedly, not the Baron power play you really wanted, but it at least keeps you in it, and gets a lot of gold over to the Gwen. My god, I don't know how they managed to do that to Gatsu, but I'm assuming it has to come from the fact that they are level 16 over 15. I don't know if that was the case when they fought, I'll be honest with you, but Nicely played. Managed to get that solo on the side lane.
Needlework and Ignite always coming in clutch when you need it, but Shuriken needs to be very careful here in the mid lane. You do have the Baron buff, but that's the Youmu's getting popped right there, looking for the chase. Won't be able to get it just yet.
This is not a fight you want to take right here. You do not have your Jax, and the resets are looking very doable right now.
When he stunned up Coco in the middle of everyone, does have the Needlework available, but gets ignited down. That healing cut. Gorny, however, will be cut down in return, and the curtain call will not catch anyone out.
You need to group on somebody. Shruki's the target.
Oh,
wow.
The Buster Shot gets them straight out of that one. Shruki staying alive for the time being. Feralius.
Game is getting me all kinds of scared.
Oh.
Hold on a minute, Pakeko. They find the invisible Hunty, but sneaking away, not able to get the
move speed.
Oh, I thought the Flay could have caught him out midair. I don't know if Metis had it at that point in time, but good lord, this game is asking all kinds of questions about both of these teams. Competition is alive in Group A. Just the question of what will the results have for us. Remember, for the standings, 0-2 are out. This is just playing for pride. BME, they aren't guaranteed to get that head-to-head they need to have Braves win the next game to be putting themselves up there, but they are fighting for contention for that last chance qualifier. If they lose this game, they are almost definitely out, but this is their last moment to impact the standings. This is the last game for both of these teams today. And BME really want it to not be the last game for them in the tournament.
I don't want to go down without a fight, and another fight will be ensuing shortly. In about a minute's time, around that Mountain Drake, all eyes on this objective that gives you the soul point as BME, Coco, going for the 1v2, getting Gorny, annihilating him, in fact, with those needles. It's gone to that point where Gwen is just doing ridiculous amounts of damage.
But remember, that's a Gwen with Ignite, so 3 people should be able to keep her at arm's length. The only issue is, on the other side of the map, you are forfeiting mid tower, and you are forfeiting potentially all Dragon Prio, and you might not even get the kill. Okay, they get him at least. But now we have to get back
to blow the
ASAP.
shockwave, though. You now no longer have this tool to be able to
Well,
defend.
the
Maybe
Jinx
the
will
rocket's
stop
actually
bases.
interrupting the bases. I think that actually
does.
stopped them by moving them. So that means you get more time to siege this down. It should be an inhibitor.
No,
Or
no,
not, just
I
gonna
much
back it
prefer
out.
this. I think it's fine, because you want to be able to get for this Dragon Prio, and you will be there the second it respawns, because if you go for a little bit extra to take the inhib, then that would have given time for Toibu and the friends to make their way over. Still no shockwave up. This should be free. Pakeko, only chance of a steal is this Jhin.
Too much damage. You have 2 ADCs, one of which has the Kraken Slayer and a lot of attack speed, so it's just going to go down immediately. But Gatsu with the Shurellias and the move speed now, the counter strike looking for the chase. Kiko gets onto it, and Pakeko picks that one up.
40 seconds. Oh my god, Metis, will that be
comes
the hook
through,
that
the
does it?
Lantern's on the other side. No one else is there to follow up immediately. Hunty over the wall with the Heartbreaker, but there's just too much damage from 0-2, and they pick that one up too.
They don't have the minions to do any sieging here. Best thing they could do is rotate to the top side, take control of this jungle, and set up for that Baron. Take a look at the respawn time, as Hunty will not be up for when the Baron is available, but remember, this is the slower Nasha team. They have got Blade the Rune King, though, on a Jax, so they will not be that slow. Just slower. If they go for it straight away, I see no reason why not to. The only thing that we can see happen now is a Jinx, so otherwise, BME are potentially looking at their destruction.
Because only just respawned. I think it's going down a little bit too quickly. You have no smite on BME. I think it is all but secured. Keko blocking the ultimate, and there it is. 5 members of 0-2 with that Baron buff.
Very respectful. Stop hitting. Let me get in position. I see where the Jinx is. The rocket can only come from this way. Managed to get that one blocked, like you say. And now, we have got the Mountain Soul Point for BME. In a good 3 minutes and 30 seconds, they could have the soul. Thing is, they have to survive Baron until then. But with such an open map, and so much vision and traps invested into the top side from 0-2, really difficult to siege, because you're walking in blind no matter where you go, and unlike a normal Xin Zhao, who could survive a bit of burst then pop ult, this one does not. They have the shield bow, but they are immensely squishy against the enemy comp. They will just die if they ever go too far forward.
Alright, Baron buff right now. Let's see. Will 0-2 manage to get this one, opening up the curtain alongside the Xin Zhao for the engage. TP also being channeled on both sides. Coco going around the back. looking for a fight, but Hunty is very low. Has to be careful about how he manages his health bar as Coco goes down on the side, but that is the Jhin immediately destroyed. 4 members still remaining.
1 ADC dead from each team. Technically still 2 remaining for BME with that Viego. They're going to go back to normal. And now this is just a siege down mid. They know there's no shockwave, and that is the biggest threat to a lot of their carries. Shruki does not have anything to fear apart from a flash stun from Gatsu. You have Nautilus. They can at very least try and slow that down. Just going to go respectful. Taking basically half of the Baron duration for granted now, as they've been able to just stall for long enough. Good series of play from BME. Doesn't matter if you lose a member if you don't lose the base.
Stalling for as long as they can right now, making sure the Baron cannot do anything but push in. And another 2 minutes on this next all-important objective, because if BME does get this one as a Mountain Soul, and then it becomes 10 times harder for 0-2 to actually be able to secure those kills, especially onto those more vulnerable carries.
I'll tell you who it doesn't change much for, and that is Coco, who, if you look at the enemy team, the first bit of MR outside of Thresh has now been picked up in the form of a Hex Drinker for Gatsu. Obviously that will scale very well once it upgrades into the Maw, but for this moment in time, that is a Rabadon's Death Cap Gwen with the full Omnivamp of that Riftmaker. So they do a lot of true damage, long story short. And now, we've got 0-2, posturing for vision. They probably want to get 1 reset in before this objective spawns, but I don't think that BME want to give them the chance. This is a Tristana who, if left alone, can actually just end the game. It's going to put 0-2 in a very, very awkward spot where they're debating whether to force, but if you force now, you use your cooldown, so if it doesn't work, you lose the dragon. What do you do from 0-2 as they try to break the base?
Or it is bulldozing that tower on the top side, but you have to remember that the rest of your opposition are here in the mid lane looking to do the same to you. So we're having to channel the recall. Inhibitors still alive for the time being.
Sora cancels the base after clearing the wave, so they don't have a TP to threaten it, but they stick around, crucially. The confidence to lurk means that now they will guarantee this tower. Nobody will be back in time to stop them. They will guarantee the inhib if nobody goes back to stop them. Guess what? No TP for Toibu, no TP for Gatsu. They have to force something now or they will lose.
The only problem is that as BME, your numbers down right here. Hunty flashing over, stopwatch buying the time. Gatsu, however, might be able to get the chase. Gorny with the Q secures that one in the end.
A fight happening, but there is
However,
a 1v1 in the base.
It might be a base race. I don't know what's going on the other side. He's destroying Nexus turret seemingly. I think Toibu manages to keep the defense up, but I think there's 2 down on BME, maybe 3 down now with Coco versus Gatsu. I don't think you can win this one. 3-1. And I don't think Jinx is safe just yet.
Rookie, they could get some HP off for this Grump, but they aren't going to be able to contest it. They have the ultimate. They can try, but if they do, they'll give away their position, and they do not go for it. If Jinx fires the rocket there, there is no escape for them at that point. They will be setting up their own death sentence. As now, Toibu has vision. They can try and cancel this base, but if you do... Hold on, let's keep it on top. Oh my god, Sora gets out.
Just to get it off. Pakeko not yet actually secured the inhib, but I feel like that is a matter of time before that one goes down. The amount of health that it has. Just need another wave. But the respawns are coming through. Coco still has 20 seconds, but the rest of BME is available to defend their base. And they will.
I'm going to be honest, unless you're actually ending the game or threatening the Baron, super minions do nothing for you this game as 0-2. Look at the enemy team. They have Tristana and Jinx, 2 of the best waving clear champions pretty much in history for the game. Then they have 2 more auto attackers in the Viego and the Gwen. So, I feel like at this point, not getting the inhib isn't going to be the biggest issue, but it does mean if you get a big fight and a win, you may be denied the game if they are able to stop your minions. Now, Baron up in 40. Hyper tense situation. 2 waves of supers in the top lane. As this is really good play so far from both teams. Very high level as we wanted to see from them. Gorny, remember, they are extremely high damage to these squishies, but they are made of paper. If they ever get jumped on.
Of course, the Xin having opted for the fatty plus the shield bow. Shield bow helping to keep them alive from burst. Pakeko though, Gale Force forward, forcing out the Heartbreaker now, opening the curtain to try and kill Hunty. The damage isn't quite there.
Bit of a I'm not going to say greedy aim, but they are baited by Hunty doubling back on themselves, not running further into the jungle. But in doing so, you forced Hunty to run back into the lane. I know I just said that, but it means that now, that Viego is grouped up with a team nowhere near this Baron. You have an Orianna who could just throw out the ball and deny it. The Jinx ult doesn't get it, crucially. Baron to 0-2. What do they do?
Members alive, maybe you can try and look for a pick as BME instead. Going into the jungle.
3 minutes until that soul. The Baron buff will just wear out if we even get that far. BME, they get a good pick here.
Oh no.
They can force a fight. They could get another inhib. They can rotate the bot. They can end the game. Toibu is the susceptible target right now.
Don't think they're going to opt path
They definitely cancelled a base or two. Nobody needs to leave because you don't need to show. Everybody was in that bush and they base. The pressure relieves. We have a moment of patience.
And to think that this match for 0-2 has no impact for the rest of their tenure at UEM. Of course it does for BME, but you don't really expect something like this where you have a team that is out of the running completely. Here to have fun, but they really are in it to play spoilers and not go out without a fight.
I will give my fullest respects to 0-2 regardless of which way this game goes. They have put up a monster performance. Exceptionally good play from Toibu on this Orianna. Rest of the team also doing very good stuff. Gorny with this completely abstract Zinzao build. I know you mentioned it earlier, but I do want to bring it back to the fact that that is an IE Zin with the Hail of Blades. If they get onto somebody and get good RNG with those crits, which they are in favor for, 60% crit chance, a target just dies. Like, they will just obliterate anybody that they get on top of, because there's no defensive itemization for anyone bar Hunty. I mean, yeah, obviously there's Kiko, but that's the support. We're not talking about that. We're talking about the targets that actually win or lose these fights just from their DPS alone. Priority down mid with Baron minions. They should be able to get this inhib. Question is, how do BME respond? You are being stretched way too thin right now.
Thing is that Orianna Ball's making those minions hurtle down the mid lane, and now 5 members and a minion wave right in your base. Not everyone has reset. They're on the other side. The ADCs now lined up and are ready for fight.
Ooh, okay. 0-2. Going for the top wave. They want to try and get this tier 2 tower as Pekeka runs through all of it. This will forfeit the dragon. There's very few ways that you can rotate quick enough like this. Unless you leave right now, which they are looking to do.
Team's looking for a pick, and that might be what they needed. Kiko gets obliterated immediately. Far too much damage now. Coco still immune, able to stay alive. But the problem is, now you're down 1. Curtain opens up. The engage is there. Gatsu looking for it. Counter-strike onto 3 with the shockwave. And that's opened up the base. Now, Hunty getting a reset. However, the resets are still in position. Hunty may be looking to save the game for BME. 2 people within the GA, but I feel like both of them will just be collected as they respawn. Hunty, wait, the reset. No way.
Oh.
Okay.
Okay, hold on. They can take it, right? They've got minions. There's no respawn timers. Kiko is up in 11 seconds. They have the ultimate. The next person up, he's not going to be for 20, so that should be it. 0-2 should have this game. Short of somebody getting pulled into the fountain, this is going to be it.
They're doing everything Pekeko has a set attack speed, but I just don't think it's possible at this point. The minions are just too thick right now. Jin gets the kill anyway, and that should be the game for 0-2.
Oh my god. Just hit the Nexus so I can have this pressure relieved. Pekeko, take a bow. What a performance by that Jin. What a performance by that team. Wow. Nothing else I could say to that one.
For a match that was penned as something that would be their parting gift to UEM, they certainly showed up and said, well, you know what? This is the end for us. We're letting you know that we're not to be feared. Not to be feared, we are to be feared, even.
I don't know who I could give an MVP to that game, honestly. Looking at the performances across the board, Gorny with their abstract Zinzao worked. You could see at the very end there, when they're in the 1v1 against the Jinx, if they didn't have that insane crit itemization, Jinx kills them because of how far ahead they are. And then suddenly, that's a 2v1 at the end, and Jinx plus Nautilus can clear that wave and can definitely kill the pair of you. So many ifs and buts, but I think that I'm going to give it to Toibu on that Orianna. Such insane impact in these fights. Never faltered. Amazing work under pressure. And this team, man, I wish I could have seen more of U02. I wish we could have had more of that performance. Congratulations to U02. And now, we get to ask a lot of questions, because until we know how off-stream Uligad have done, maybe they're out? Maybe? We don't know. We'll keep you posted as far as we know once we find out, but BME now do not have the power to impact their own fate. The group could be all locked, signed, and sealed. Any final thoughts before we get the replays?
Well, we have to remember in terms of the rest of the standings here, our final match for today is between Uldog and the Bobcats, which is a massive game, potentially depending on how these back games go. But we will be going into replays right now, as I do believe they are ready. And there are certainly a lot of moments to look at from that game.
Okay, I'm just gonna sit back and enjoy these ones. I don't need to be scared anymore. The tenseness is gone. Gorny, with that Hail of Blades, like you said, you called it out, and it was exactly the thing that made the difference. Because if that's Conqueror Zinzao, you do not kill the Gwen, and you end up either dying or having to flash out. And watch this. This is going to be a highlight reel of Toibu shockwaves. Throughout the entire game, they bought time perfectly for Gatsu to rotate down. And it means so much more, for me at very least, and I'm sure it does for the player, to have it be the exact same mid matchup. But this time, completely fair to start off. I'm against your Tristana. You picked it into me twice over. No, I won't allow you to do it to me again, as every fight we have seen in these replays so far has just been them escaping on next to no HP. I believe this was their only death of the game under tower, and because of that shockwave, it chucks Hunty away, so they don't get to come back and contribute to the fight. It doesn't matter for this play, but it's just a bit extra proficiency that you got to see on the Orianna, that we really finally get to see the potential this team had.
And sometimes denying the reset from Viego there can make the difference in a fight, but Lord, Kiko just got deleted from the game right there between them. And that was the pick that really opened up this base attack, because from there you don't have that engage option. Jhin is free to cast this because there's no death charge up front. And then the free man, yeah, sealed the deal.
And watch Shruki right here, because they are going to get knocked down into the GA, and I didn't see how quick it came out, but look at that damage from the Zinzao. And you have to watch here, they are sustaining back up, but if it weren't for their crit build, they died to Jinx right there. They definitely die. They do not have the damage to kill them in that many autos. And then this game completely looks different. We go back to just leaning on our chairs, hoping that the game ends one way or the other soon. Else we just can't handle it anymore, but they do it. 0-2 take it.
Jinx would come out, get the healing from killing Xin. Viego just comes out the next reset, and then Jhin might die. Who knows what would happen, but in the end, 0-2 do come out on top. And yeah, sad to see, but we still have another match to be able to decide the final outcome of this group. We are fairly certain. I think the Bobcats have locked the first position for Group
Bobcats
A.
100% locked. It's just if it's BME or Uldag second. We don't know. We'll find that out as soon as we can.
Yeah, exactly that. And, well, this is a rematch, actually, as I think we did allude to earlier, of the first game that kicked off the group in the first week of this UEM, and it's coming back again. Bobcats did come out on top, but Uldog did put up a pretty damn good fight.
We could talk about it in a bit, because that was by far my favourite match of the day, and it kicked off, it will finish off these two groups.
Wow. Well, we'll be back shortly with that final match of the day. Check out Twitch Student and Intel, and we'll see you shortly.
game under tower, and because of that shockwave, it chucks Hunty away, so they don't get to come back and contribute to the fight. It doesn't matter for this play, but it's just a bit extra proficiency that you got to see on the Orianna that we really finally get to see the potential this team has.
And sometimes relying the research on the Hello once more for the final time for today with UEM 2022 powered by Twitch Student and Intel Amazon University Masters once more. Right, it is Udog Esports versus the Bobcats, and this time standing doesn't matter.
Well, we saw this matchup. It opened up the stream for us on the first day, and it is going to close the last day for us for the moment at least, as we finish off groups A and B. Take a look over at the first of our two rosters. Udag being very dominant. Run us through the roster, and then I'll go through how they played so far.
Yeah, there it is. Chengabon, Num, Arca, Pave, and Kagame. And a very unique combination. I mean, Kagame with that cough support you might see there. And, well, Chengabon, been on tank duty, I would say. And Kagame roaming constantly.
Jengabar is the person I want to talk about in this one because they have been pretty much weak side, but we did see In the first time these two teams faced off, they were playing the Gragas, and they did their best Wonder impression by getting dived 2v1 under tower and killing both of them, and pretty much becoming a unstoppable force for the rest of the team. The thing is, though, in their previous game, the reason that the Bobcats came on top was because they would take fights when Shengobar wasn't there. Every time Shengobar was, it completely went in their favor. As we take a look over at the Spanish roster, let's see what they got.
Hello, Infinity, Dark, Winnie, and God Shelley, of course, between them, and I believe we only did see them the one time beforehand, and this will be the last and the second time that we see them, currently undefeated in the group. So the main thing here is, can you get the perfect score?
Which they are really shooting for right now, because as we are aware, standings are now locked, with off-screen seeing that Udag did manage to win their last matchup. It means that they are 4-3. Worst they could go is 4-4, and because 0-2 managed to win the last game, it means that this group is locked in for last chance qualifier for Udag. But the thing is now, you have to set a good standard for yourselves. You have to impress us in the same way that we just saw from 0-2 in the last game. These are two teams that now do not have that pressure of where are we going to place weighing over them, but now Bobcats, they've got that soft pressure of 0-8. Are you going to put up another Kit-esque performance? Obviously, when you have these individual groups, we could look at the power level relative to each other, but you never know. Maybe this team gets into a group against Kit and suddenly it's just domination from them. I mean, off stream, we've been looking at the game times, and all of Kit's game times today have gone long. They just had another 38-minute win. Again, a win, but not as decisive as we expected from that squad. Maybe against another team that can potentially finish 8-0, they might have some level of vulnerability.
Yep, and that is the precedent that the Bobcats really want to set here. We're going to saying, well, you know, we've won our own championship 3 times. We've been to UEM a little bit before, but we're going to come here this time and we're going to really bring a good showing. And hopefully we'll see that in the playoffs to come, as they have locked that in.
So, without any further ado, let's talk about some of the essential picks from the last time around. We had the Bobcats playing Yasuo Diana, and it was Infinity's Diana that really did secure them that game. It looked a bit lost at times, but the amount of non-stop engages they were able to pull out, even winning their game by taking a 4 versus 5 engage, but because of how big the combo was, they were able to win overall. Now, the thing is, they banned the Janna immediately to protect themselves while they were taking this strategy. They haven't done this time around, so it might be something that we don't necessarily see revealed just yet, as, do you want to explain to me why there's a Rek'Sai banned?
Right. So, Infinity is a pretty big Rek'Sai player. Now, it's been banned against Infinity every single game, bar one. They immediately picked it and he went 25-3.
Well, okay, that's the kind of player we have got to deal with. Definitely the driving force for this squad from what we have seen on the Rift and off of the Rift, apparently. So, question is, what on earth do we have coming? Num actually was one of the other players, alongside Striker, that had a really promising Shyvana game. It explains why that one's been banned away. As on the other side, we do now have that Diana removed. No Yasuo Diana shenanigans. You've seen it once. Never need to see it again. I don't want the salty run back, actually. We're not having a repeat of last time around. You don't need to have the confidence of 0-2 to take that, but, you know, at the end of the day, we have still got a lot of power picks open. Zeri and Jinx banned away, but that still leaves things like the Gwen, who has shown up a lot, the Karma, the Hecarim. As far as ADCs go, Phelios, we haven't seen him very much today at all, actually. I don't think we've seen him maybe once at minimum, but that was it.
Yeah, I think the general tournament priority of Phelios has been a little bit low. I think this is in part due to the higher range compositions that some teams are drafting, and the fact that Phelios doesn't tend to do well into those comps just by nature of the champion. So that's probably a reason for the lower pick rate, as the first pick will be Lee Sin locked in for Num.
These are certainly hovers, and that is where we will leave that topic, and we'll wait to see the tone of the game, similar to what we were prefacing last game of it has a lot of effect on one team's standings, not the other. I would quite like this if they were to just blind pick the Syndra, not because it is the best blind pick in the world, but because Syndra Lee Sin is so terrifying in isolation, as instead, they'll pick a jungle counter and then just a solitary top laner of the Jace. Is flexible to mid at the end of the day. Not likely, but it's something I can imagine Dark doing. They are very good at those AD mids, and it's something that we'll have to keep our eye on and see what happens here in response.
Alright, very strong top side. Changabar giving Num a pick that allows him to be able to playmake, and we get Zaya locked in, something that we've been seeing a little bit more in pro play across the world, not necessarily in this tournament, the Rakan to be paired with it as an option that has the safety with her R and a lot of damage, typically now with the Eclipse build.
I really like the Rakan when you already have a mobile bruiser. Lee Sin doesn't get more mobile or bruisery than anybody else. And part of the reason for that is because if you have somebody who can act as an intermediary between Zaya and, well, the enemy team, you can have Rakan jump on from off screen and be on top of the enemy in under a couple seconds, already diving onto the backline. Ezreal, though, very good at mitigating a lot of that pressure because of the Arcane Shift. If you don't get caught up by Rakan, which you can buffer to Arcane Shift out of, then you can't get rooted up by the Zaya, and that really removes a lot of pressure from you.
Safe pick for the bot side, especially given the fact that you have a Jace Xin to be able to playmake with around the other side of the map. Relatively good to just be safe. Sit there, farm, eventually scale up and be useful in teamfights, provide the poke. We've seen the Ezreal a lot come up within UEM for this reason, just for the safety, for the reliability, and it's worked out fairly well.
So, Changabar is not an Irelia player, one of the iconic answers to the Jace in the top lane, and the biggest issue, I would say, for the Uldag squad is that they are actually on the blue side, which means that they cannot guarantee if that Jace is heading top, you assume, but all Bobcats have to do is lock in a support next, which you would expect to happen because you already see the Rakan on the enemy team, and then you could just leave that as that kind of question mark of like, you sure? Do you want to pick that? At the end of the day, while it would leave you with a pretty bad damage distribution, Bobcats can always just lock in a support here and then take the Poppy in top lane. You already got really good dashes to block on the enemy team. I don't think that's the ideal strategy, but it's just one of the many things that go through your mind when you're looking at this pick ban. 2 supports focused out, and we will get a Rel.
Okay, so Rel is interesting because Rel Ezreal is not a combination that is typically synergistic together. In fact, actually not very. The only thing you could do is maybe if you're playing a more AP focused build on Ezreal, perhaps with the Ludens, can bring a True Shot Barrage throughout the entire Magnet Storm, and then you get a lot of value. But we shall wait on what the final pick is for the Bobcats, as it might have a lot more synergy, as there's that answer to the Jace you were talking about.
Okay, now the thing is you have to pick a flexible solo laner because the biggest problem is that Poppy thing I made as almost as a quip becomes very real now. That would be an amazing pick into this enemy composition, acting as the perfect disengage. But the thing is, I'm looking at what Bobcats have, and I cannot read anything that isn't Orianna. And honestly, I would say both teams don't mind it. I'm very, very curious to see, because it's not exactly what we associate with Dark for that mid laner, but come on. Is there a better Orianna angle into the enemy team? I mean, the enemy team's very mobile. It's very good in isolation. I don't know, what else do you even go for? Yone for wombo combos, then you lack magic damage. You need a mage, and this player is not notorious for their mages. Veigar is the only one up there that they are well known for. But even that, good, but I wouldn't say it's super synergistic with the Rel.
Yeah, this Rel is a little bit of a red herring for me. I'm not entirely sure what the game plan was on that one. Normally, just for context if you don't know, Rel is either paired with stuff like the Kai'Sa for a very strong lane phase, or you pair it with things like an Aphelios or an MF for that ultimate potential of a Magnet Storm when you have everyone grouped up and you can send a Bullet Time or a Moonlight Vigil and it just kills everyone. That's what they typically have, but this time it's not necessarily the case.
One thing it does have, though, is point and click CC, because when you are dismounted as the Rel, you can use that remounted auto attack that you get along with the movement speed to catch Rakan out when they're jumping in, because all you have to do is get them with the right click and you'll flip them over your shoulder, old volley bear style. And that can work with basically everything the enemy team has, which, considering it's a comp that wants to run into you, pretty much bar Zaya, everybody is sprinting forward, the Rel can act as a good buffer to buy time for the Veigar to get the cage down and combo that with the Xin Zhao. That's the real combo this team has. Yes. Veigar puts down cage, Xin Zhao swats everybody into it, then you can choose who you kill because you have amazing single target damage between Ezreal, Jace, and Veigar. You choose a target, we got them, boss, they're gone.
Although I will say, I just did remember it, Rel's Q actually does break shields. So with the fact that you have Rakan and Lee Sin, there's a little bit of value there. But more of a minor point, as that Q has an incredibly slow animation.
Yeah, it's not exactly the most reliable thing in the world for catching a Rakan out of midair, but what you can do is you can use the Magnet Storm as the disengage tool. It's not a very common thing you see from Rel, and I know we're funneling a lot onto this one pick, but it's because it's the one that stands out the most, as you don't really see Rel unless you have a Rel player. She's definitely that kind of thing of like, why aren't you just playing Leona? Well, I mean, Leona's good, but on the scale of things, Rel, she's a lot more, I don't know, not mechanically intensive. She's a lot more flippy. She requires a lot more help, and she needs that kind of wombo combo condition that you're talking about.
I think one of the big problems about Rel and the reason why her play rate is so low globally, just as a champion, not just in pro, but in every form of the game, in the bottom 10 champions, almost bottom 5. I did look at this stat a while
It's a
ago.
killer stat.
Yeah, it's a really, really low play rate globally. It's like what, 2%, 1% something? Very, very low. Regardless, part of it is because sometimes when you go in, you just die.
Alright, anecdotally,
So,
do you know off the top of your head if that was above or below Ivan? That's just for my own personal pride, but
below. Iburner's more play.
we take those. We take those by trees. Okay, excellent. Okay.
I know that the two lowest currently are Skarner and Aurelion Sol.
You started to say Aurelion Sol, and I just heard Irelia, and I was like, I don't believe you. I'm going to have to check your sources, and then it made a lot more sense. Yeah, okay, those two completely get it. Skarner, fun champion, would have been great, actually, for the Bobcats team comp this game around, being able to lock up a lot of people on the enemy team, because they are so mobile. Rel is going to struggle with that, especially when you're against a Lee Sin kick, something we didn't really get to talk too much about, but your two main engagers of the Xin and the Rel are both instantly denied with that boot.
That's it. And well, for the other side, we haven't talked too much about it, but it's kind of a widespread. I mean, the Aurelia into Jace is actually going to be a really big deal here. How well you can leverage that matchup, because yes, it's generally used as an answer, but sometimes you see cases where, well, Aurelia doesn't necessarily get to play the game into a Chase. It's a specific game I think I have in my memory.
Are you also thinking about G2 versus was it G2
Yeah.
BDS?
Yeah, I am thinking of that one.
Yeah, that was well, traumatic for all Irelia players, where I believe it was Adam as the
Yes.
Irelia walks up to the Jace, gets into a level 1 fight, dies, TP's back, gets into the same level 1 fight, dies, game ends. You know, on the scale of things, I don't think that's the performance we're expecting from Chengobar, but it is out of their champion pool, to say the least. This is not a pick we usually associate with them, so this is something that is a bit more of a stage practice, we'll call it. We'll have to find out how effective it is for this game. It is a very tense one. While it doesn't have those standings implications, it most definitely does for Pride, and Bobcats want to finish 8-0 because that would be a hell of a statement coming into the actual playoffs for them.
All right. Pretty standard Parvings. Nothing out of the ordinary. Playing safe, especially if the Bobcats right now don't really want to risk anything on a cheesy invade or level 1 strategy. Bring it back. It's going to be first strike on the Ezreal, trying to make some more gold rather than opting for the Conqueror for more reliable damage. And then the Predator, which is relatively standard nowadays on the Vigar. And because of that area, I see that will be the Lethality Zaya.
I noticed that Arca has actually gone for the Ignite on this Ari for the lane, which means they are going to be fishing for those kind of kills early. When they have Numb on the Lee Sin, very, very good in the early game. I wouldn't be too shocked if we get a level 3 gank to mid, because the Vigar, especially if you can get to them while they're still level 2, doesn't really want that cage. Ooh.
Going with the level 1 trade here, just Ignite straight down damage onto both AD carries right now, but Chele does a lot less than Kagame should do, but because of the way that it worked, managed to get the flip back and forces out the flash there. Massive win for the Bobcats in the end, despite not actually initiating the play.
So one of the biggest benefits Rel has... Oh, hold on.
Oh, well, I think that might actually end up being First Blood donated over to the Rel, not exactly who you want it on, but at the same time, Zaya gets none of this farm.
Is damn boy, she is tanky in the early game with this shield, and when she is dismounted, you will not kill this champion in an isolated 2v2. And we saw throughout that play, Winnie got back to safety and was completely inaccessible. Ooh, okay, that's aggressive. A little too aggressive.
Okay.
I mean, they could drop deny if they wanted to. I wouldn't have been too upset with that. It's just you don't know where Numb is, so you might be asking to lose your lead very quickly. I highly doubt there'll be anything too sporadic in the bottom lane. We'll have to find out what ends up happening here. But yes, the benefits of Rel in the early game is she's very good at... Hold on.
Well, Num is a very good duelist, but so is Infinity. However, the Fox is here and will secure the kill. Arca gonna get that one. And the vision and the row
There we
was
go.
there.
That's what we need to see from this Ari pick in the mid lane. They're not too scared of the Vigar, not going for the Corrupting Potion, actually just going for the Doran's Ring. Very confident that they can just exist in this lane. And why wouldn't you be when you get to start with a blue buff now? Oh, that is dire. Infinity will lose out on both of their buffs, handing one over to the enemy mid lane. Dark is going to be fuming right now.
Yeah, not really, Vigar currently, who is a little bit short on mana, I would say, and really appreciates
short
having
joke.
the mana to be able to stack up on his passive of normal evil power. There it is, getting 2 stacks right there. That's 2 AP. And you need mana to cast that ability. So.
That's true. That is damn true. As now, at this point in the game, not too much to happen. We do have a very aggressively placed Infinity, who could look for something on this bottom lane. You know that there's no flash on Kagome. They are a Rakan, though.
Alright, the crash down will not connect. Winnie
Oh,
now
beautiful.
over there, but you managed to get the micro stun onto that one, and Infinity is able to come in and get the kill for you guys.
So another benefit with the Rel is that her auto attacks and that Q shred resistances. So it's extremely good in the early trades where all you are doing is throwing auto attacks and one basic ability. It massively swings expectation, because when you think a trade should go in your favor, it just doesn't, because of the only thing that you can't be ready for of actually having the incorrect resistances.
Alright, well, right now, Cat's getting the better... Yeah, it does do that. It actually steals them, which is the great thing, makes her tankier. Anyway, Rel has a lot of other problems, despite it sounding like Rel is just the ultimate support champ right now. There is a reason why she isn't very played, and maybe we'll see that later with some of the engages. I mean, we almost did there. It's a very slow and broadcast engage without flash.
I mean, you said it in a minorly different context, but they really love this early power, and you are capitalizing on it so well. Knowing that Arca went for that early flash. Are you sure that Rel is... not in your Chelly's hands. I mean, we have a local Rel player, Nibble. Very, very good at the champion. It's one of those ones where you see it, lock it in. It's always a treat because this is a very niche one-trick-S champion, like you said about the Skarner and that of the Aurelian Soul. If you're good at it, you're really good at it. Num, they're looking for a steal here, but I don't think you have a window.
As the Smite has the resonating strike. But it will decide... wait, the dragon leashed! No way, it's possible! Decides not to go for it. There isn't the vision on the objective there. But the re-engage, however, your Rakan is only level 2. Num here, the damage, the E goes down, manages to kill the Ezreal, but there's a little bit too much damage, so it's traded back. But I feel like...
Too upset with a 1-for-1, especially because you kill the ADC, and now you get control over the minion wave, so it's not the worst thing in the world, especially if you can crash this bot wave. We'll have to see down there in a minute, because I believe it is a siege wave, so you won't lose too much if you're winning. Not going to be massively upset. And to take a quick ganders up at this top lane, Jengabar playing it well, getting a CS lead. They are full build with that Vampiric Scepter, still 10% lifesteal, by the way, on this patch. But Pelu, they're doing okay. They've got the tier, they've got that initial serrated Dirk, so they are surviving this lane. It is level 6, though, that solo kill potential can happen, like we just saw on mid, apparently.
Well, Winnie might be caught out here, Arcane Shift away. And that's just the safety of the Ezreal there. Some other ADCs might not be able to get themselves safely out of that situation, although I don't think that the Battle Dance would have connected anywhere in this particular case.
We get a flat 1-for-1. Infinity, quite happy. Dark, not so much, which is kind of how it felt the first time we saw this team on stream, where Infinity was the real driving factor with that Diana jungle pick that was taken away from them this time around. And then it was the... Hold on.
Oh, I mean, the Blade Caller. Winnie lives on a sliver of health. Can a Pave get the kill? Yes. Those Feather Daggers managed to secure it.
Rel's
It was close, though.
Rel is broken. Okay, so what we saw right there was as Rakan was dashing in, Godchelly reacted with the stun so they didn't get the knock-up. How brilliant is that?
Yeah, if you didn't know, Rel does win this support matchup. It is actually a little fact, as somebody who does play with a Rel player quite often as an ADC main.
I wondered
I'm
why you were
aware
so
of this.
knowledgeable on this particular topic area. Because
uh,
I've seen my good share of Rel players, and it's always a treat to look at. It's been a little while since I've seen either Nibble or Reina is my other go-to Rel player that I love to watch. So I've been, I've been missing this, because when you can do such amazing things in the early game, it's really impressive. It is just truly good to see it as Dark. Now Predatoring up to top, where there is nobody to kill.
Alright. You all have to collapse here. They don't know. They're in the
They
bush.
don't
Actually,
know,
no.
chat.
Right,
They knew,
there we
chat.
go. There's the engage. And there is Num. Finally
Yeah, there was
Num
that
now.
ward.
Yep.
I didn't notice it either, don't worry, as it completely spots out that play, and the ultimate collapse coming through. Bobcats, they're really good at League of Legends. We haven't got to see them do it too much, but damn, this is a team I am very confident, not only because they're already qualified, to say that they are going to be a very scary team to look down. And I'm hoping to see, I know it's a whiles away, but I'm hoping to see how they will do in those playoffs.
You know how Infinity was set back a little bit because of the early invade between the
what you're on
three of
about.
them and Num and Arca?
Don't know what you're on
And
about.
now it's 5-1.
Yep. Well, jungle support synergy is kind of broken, especially when you have somebody so well using Glacial Augment Rune. I've seen insane value from that every time Rel goes in, because the thing is about Rel as a champion, I know this isn't, guys, we're casting the game, we're not making a Rel tutorial, but promise. Every time they go in, you can see that they have enough CC to get the initial play, but the Glacial just adds that extra bit of time for the enemy to not be able to run away, that just enables you to win every single trade. And the issue is, for most supports, like Nautilus for example, you would go Glacial and then you would die because you aren't tanky. When Rel jumps in, she is default tanky. She basically has Aftershock built into her kit. Admittedly, she becomes slow as a turtle at the time, and I'm not talking about Rammus, but now we'll get to see a little bit more of the Rel tutorial workshop in the bot lane, as I'm assuming they're going to hit 6 very soon.
Likely trying to look for the engage with the Magnet Storm. Flash
Oh.
not yet available. Knocks them down. Infinity's here. They don't actually know this, and with Num coming
It's a
into this
great bait.
play, they now know that Num's here.
They know Num's here, but they don't know Infinity's here. And because we saw... Okay, I think they actually caught him on vision right there. So, no, the jig is up. Both teams know that the junglers are here.
Do they?
Yeah, right?
Okay,
You
well,
know?
yeah, well, now the fight's going down. There's the True Shot Barrage. There's the engage. I think Infinity with the knock-up should be able to get one of them. Gets the Rakan instead because the Zyra avoided the initial kill, and that means that both of them end up going down. Charlie now looking for Arca.
Not that tanky right now, but there's a Rift Herald in the bottom lane. I don't think you could do anything to stop this. Dag, you just have to, well, basically sit there and watch as your bot lane gets collapsed upon. Ooh, Arca with no cooldowns. Num in a very dangerous spot.
Coming through. There it is. Having to flash out, otherwise would have died there, especially the Magnet Storm coming to back up. But now, Rel is really slow and cannot escape, so Num should be able to get that one if he goes for it. Yep, there it is. Wait, mount up? Maybe? No, Epave does collect that one.
See, while they ended up dying, the stun interrupt onto the Irelia stopped any pop-off play from Chengo Bar, so, you know, I'll always find a way this game to bring it back to how good God Shelly is. That's what I'm doing now. Every play has to somehow come back to the support role, as Infinity, fishing this out because of that ward placed by Chengo... No, not really.
Oh, well, thank you for the leash.
Okay, a bit of leash, bit of mobility, but they have been fed now to Arca. Will they be able to pick this one up? No.
Yes.
I meant no from Arca's perspective. Definitely
yeah.
yes for Infinity.
Well, there we go. A little bit different to last time. Infinity Dark were ahead on the Diana Yasuo combo, but Uladog put up a bit more of a fight than this time, I would say.
Admittedly, you have to remember they don't have to show anything new.
No.
So this is just the time for them to try and play with confidence and play spoiler. So I can't be too critical of Ulag, which is why I'm going to continue to compliment Rest.
I mean, to be fair, as we discussed, with the rarity of this pick and with the the lack of presence in general. It's always nice to see something that is off meta.
It's nice to see that it's off meta, and it's really nice to see it succeed as well, because the issue of picking off meta picks is you kind of just set the perception of the champion every time you lock it in. Because if you do poorly, everybody's like, that champion sucks. If you do well, you get the experience you're having right now, where everybody, well, where I'm like, wow, isn't Rel good? Look how good Rel is!
Now there's the engage, there's the Magnet Storm, there's the lockdown, but there's also the Blade Caller. And that might be able to get a pave out to safety.
I think Winnie was expecting the move up to top side there. Makes sense because of how Epave walked. If they had waited with the True Shot Barrage, then it's definitely a dead desire. So, nice little read from Epave, as now Lee Sin on the bot side. Not going to do much, just going to be there to help escort this bot lane. Or at very least help them take the minions, because at the end of the day you're against an Ezreal on the tower, so you are dangerous.
Try diving the Aurelia, stacks up the passive, but I think there's too much damage, and there it is. Infinity picking up another one. 10, 1 and 2 this game.
Oh,
Going in for it, doesn't quite.
Hold on!
Oh, what is this? Gets the kill on the Rakan, but Lee Sin is able to equalize the play.
I'm really expecting something fancy here, because Arca is about to come down. Epave may just die. Yep.
I'm not actually sure why he was positioned like that, but I guess you get the kill on the Ahri anyway. Maybe a little bit more restraint than you would have lived.
It's a 2-for-2 trade, but you are going to see a lot more damage come on down in the mid lane here. This is going to be a pretty free tower for the Bobcats as they break open the map once again. Bounties are enabled currently. Infinity, got to protect their mid lane.
Nam is able to do a lot of damage. Is still that point in the game where Lee Sin can do that with the execute on his Q, dashing back with Chengo Bar, managing to connect it to Dark. Maybe get another one. Infinity still has a lot of health, but you are a 4-stack Aurelia. However, Hello is there in time to be able to save Infinity, and they will collect those kills.
Wait a minute, on the meanwhile, in the bot lane, Winnie and Arca traded a 1-for-1. I don't know how they were able to do that, but we get a relatively even trade across the map. Fair enough, goes in the Bobcats' favour. Because Infinity's really damn good and really damn fed, so they're going to get themselves a Rift Herald here to put Ulu Dag to bed.
I have to say, I'm noticing a theme with this jungler, though, for the Bobcats, I have to say. Manages to get himself a lot of kills. In fact, if I'm not mistaken, he's also got extremely high kill participation. Not quite as high as some of the junglers we did see earlier, which are basically their central element of the team, but it's still about 60. I think it was 66, or like 2/3 of the team's kills. So,
which is pretty scary. And the thing I was a bit worried about with this Xin Zhao Veigar is that it's really down to the Veigar to get the cage down before Xin can knock people into it. And maybe I'm reading a bit too hard into it, but because of the Yasuo Diana, and that being the only performance we got to see of them, I read this team for Bobcats as one that's really heavily around Infinity making the plays, and everybody else following up after it.
And here it is, Chai setting up another one, picking up the kill. Well deserved. Arca now on the run. Winnie able to chase with the Arcane Shift. And Infinity's on the other side, so Arca has to dash it back to the bot side again.
Has
Event
Flash,
Horizon.
can go for the kill on Winnie. Oh, that was good.
Yeah. Nice queue up with the True Shot Barrage there to cover the option of Arca going in for you instead.
So now, Pelu being left to clear, wave under tower. There is no quickness available, no flash for Kagame. Wasn't able to pick this up in the last time they attempted to play on the top side, so now should just be a free Cloud Dragon, getting you to Soul Point for the Bobcats, if you so choose. You don't have to go for it, as they do have the Rift Herald and they're looking down mid. I think this is a completely fine choice, because at the end of the day, Soul Point isn't going to scare them as much as opening up the game is.
Yep. Gonna headbutt straight into the tower, that's one down. Can they get the next charge off? Most likely.
Bonk.
There it is. However, Jengabar really looking for it right now on the Aurelia, able to connect with the Ezreal, getting that kill right there. Power of Aurelia to just dash around and do a lot of damage, but likewise with Dark and the Primordial Burst, a bit too much there. Infinity, got all the gold. Yeah.
Oh, that was so painful to watch for Num's perspective, as Gocelli had the crash down coming in to protect Infinity if Lee had gone for the Q. And then the trade of Flash obviously goes so well for Dark. You know what? I'm not looking forward to the replays for this game. This is going to be insult to injury, assuming that there isn't a miracle comeback from Udag, which if it is the case, then, you know, I take it back. That would be astounding. But
Yeah.
I feel like this game is pretty much signed and sealed from this point on.
Well, you know, if anything, they're setting a precedent for what might end up happening in playoffs. I think this is one way of putting it. Yes, it... Maybe there is a contender.
We'll keep fingers crossed on that one. Oh, hold on a minute. This is Party engage onto mid, and they are fishing for something. They need to find
Everfrost's not going to connect Magnet Storm onto free. Dark and Winnie with the damage. Be careful about where those blades come and recall. Too much will root down the rail, but the rail has a little bit too much gold accelerated right now, and it's too tanky. So, Dark able to get another one there.
I realise just how oppressive this Rel Vigar combo is in particular, because you have the flip over shoulder when Rel goes for the remount, so you can actually reliably put people into cage, but also, when you look at the rest of this, Rel can shred the resistances and steal them, but that takes you away from Dark, who doesn't really get to itemize into that much magic pen until about the 3-4 item point for this Vigar. So it's just doing an insane amount of value. It's a similar case for Pelu as well, while we haven't seen the Rel and the Jace on the screen at the same time. Or anybody on the screen right now.
Yep, because Kagome has now got a grey screen after that play.
What are they building? Are they building Everfrost on the Rakana, or are they having to go for...
I think that's Everfrost.
Could be Everfrost, could also be Crowd of the Shattered Queen, so they could get in for the engage, which I honestly wouldn't disbelieve of how some of these fights
Just
in
move
air
speed
quotes
on the
are played
mythic
out.
passive if you ever get to that point.
True, they have the support item, they'll instantly
Yeah.
get one proc of it, it's not bad. I mean, it's definitely not good, but it's not bad. No, it's kind of bad.
Yeah, it's not great.
Especially if you look at how easily it is to get rid of that shield, so...
Yes.
You know, Baron's gonna go down. I think that it's about time, after this play goes presumably in the favour of Bodcats. Let's see. Okay, Num, you could get the Miracle Steal. Make the play. Go on. Highlight reel.
Go on. Here it is. Lee Sin, let's do it. Has the kickback Pelu instead, but the Baron's on 1.2 now, going down. And it gets stolen by a Pave somehow. I guess the Blade Caller there was enough, but UOL has the damage. Only Chengabar left remaining, and he will get cut down by the remaining members of the Bobcats, who can probably just hurtle down the mid lane.
Yeah, but it was really exciting for all of 2 seconds, so we'll take that. As you are completely correct, they are just going to walk it down mid. Respawn timers are still very short because, reminder, this is very early on in the game, and I may have to bite my tongue in future weeks, but Bobcats are looking kit levels are dominant right now.
I have no idea what the game times were for the other few that were played off stage, but a damn sight different to what it was the first week between these two teams. Still need to close it out. 3 members alive, might be able to put up the base defense, so whether they decide to back off and keep it safe to try and secure their standing, or will Infinity go in and heal a ridiculous amount from Gordrinker and then leave.
Goes in, heals full health bar, leaves. The Infinity experience. Dragon up in a minute 30. Pretty expected win. You can only imagine. But you have to remember, they lost the Baron.
Oh, he's going in again. This time he doesn't have the ultimate. He does have the sustain from the Gordrinker. Will get shut down now by Numb, and you think that, well... No, I don't know. Oh, okay, I spoke too soon.
That's
okay.
Good. You're against an enemy team without Baron. Oh, that's a completely out of mana Vigar, so this is
Literally
free
can't
if
do
you could
damage.
stick on them.
That's the Magnet Storm. I mean, you can't cast a single ability, so...
Oh, but he gets one.
He gets one off and it was enough!
Okay, come on, show us the Rel highlight reel. How on earth are you going to do this? You have no ignite. Surely
I mean,
you can't
Rel
get
does
away
no
with it.
damage, that's the
Where's
problem.
the crash down to survive? Yeah. Yeah, dies to minions.
Oh my word.
I knew there was an angle. God, Shelly always finds an angle.
Well, might not do damage, but the tower sure does.
May have been a super minion angle, but they got it. Okay. Alright. The fact that they lost the Baron to the Xayah steal just means that we get a fair few more minutes of just this, which is fun. That's what I'm gonna call it. It's fun.
It's fun. I mean, at the end of the day, it's the last game for today. It doesn't matter. So why not have some fun with it?
After the stressor of last game, I need
oh,
this.
yeah. The nail biter that was 0-2 versus BME. But...
It was scary stuff. I mean, scary, but you know what I mean. It was very exciting stuff. Now, the eventual end of the game, maybe we could get the high kill record for this game time.
Oh. Arca, I mean, Winnie just being the target of...
The Everfrost Ricard!
I mean, it did go through! You managed to secure it on the Ezreal, now you get 2 kills! Alright. Pelu. I mean, no, misses the shock blast. I mean, you can probably just one-shot somebody here at some point, if you can get it.
Like that, off screen, yep.
Alright, there's another one, double from Infinity. Can he get the Penta? That's the real question here. No, it's going to be stolen by Pelu. Oh well.
Outstanding outplay by the person we have not seen on our screen for basically any of this game. Pelu, the silent dominator of the top lane right now. Oh, goodbye, Arca. Alright. Not going to be able to do much. That should be all done. I'm speaking slowly because you never know if they're going to be diving fountains or whatnot, but Lord hopes not, because there's really not much more we have to say. This game has been done for a little while. Well played to Bobcats. They finished their group 8-0. Udag make it to the last chance qualifier.
That's it. Those are your 2 seeds coming from Group A. I believe the Group B is also confirmed. If I'm not mistaken, it is just Kit and Braves.
Yeah,
so,
should be.
Yeah. So those are your 4 teams making it into the next stage of the tournament. Of course, Kit and the Bobcats will be making it to straight to the playoffs. They get a bit more of an extended break. There already is a bit of a break, but even more so. And the other 2 will have to play it out in the next bracket.
And you saw at the very start of the stream some highlights from Group C and D. They will be back tomorrow with that. But before we start talking about tomorrow and all the other kind of things like that, we should probably take a moment to rest. Oh yeah, I forgot. We need to do what's that thing called? Is it Infinity VP? Is that how they say it? Is that the MVP? Don't really want to sit on that for too long.
Something like that.
Actually, should I give it to Infinity? I could give it to Godchelia for that.
I could give it to Godchelia for that game, setting up the plays. Infinity
does
a little KP.
I think I will. Infinity, you had your time in the sun last time. It's a sport day. That's what we're going to give it to. Yeah. We're saying it's all on Rel. That's the last time I'll say that name today, I promise.
Yeah, and it's probably the last time you hear it for quite some time now, because I doubt it will get picked tomorrow. Although I will eat my words if it does get picked tomorrow by any one of the teams, if somebody's watching in chat right now. But regardless.
What you have to do.
Yeah, you know it now. You have to pick it to say, well, you know, I cursed it, so.
We love a bit of caster cursing. As now, I had a great time today, honestly. I would say Game 4 was, oddly enough, my favourite just because of how out of expectation it was. Great to see 0-2 succeed. Tragic for BME, but man, was that some delicious narrative.
I mean, absolutely. In the end, these are the scores we get. These are the 4 teams that we get moving through. We have some replays of that game. Some fun little highlights. You can see the Godchelia montage, so maybe you will see Rel another time.
Step 1, Rel engage. Step 2, 2-person stun, amazingly. Step 3, feed a kill over. Excellent. Another one. Again. And we'll run it back. The Rel, over the wall, the wombo combo. This is just the... I said Rel. I've already said Rel. I did it. I didn't even realise I'd done it, actually. I forgot about the replays, so in my head I was like, oh, I'm not going to say it till, at all, actually. But no, I'm going to keep saying it now. I'm going to double down. Godchelia getting the highlight reel plays going on. They will get the match here. This was my favourite Rel play of the game, and that's saying something because there were a lot of them.
Yeah, I mean...
So silly. It's
just
silly.
As the Xayah, you just have to realize, oh wait, I mispositioned here. I mean, this is the Baron. This is where, if I'm not mistaken, the Xayah manages to steal it. Puts 3-4. Use the ult and then the E. So it was the extra daggers generated from the Blade Storm there to be able to get enough damage to secure the Baron. But everyone dies. So
I'm now waiting for the Everfrost Rakan highlight. Come on, that's the next one that I've got on the list. It wasn't this one. Definitely not this one. But they managed to keep it going. A lot of that on Num in the back, but it doesn't matter. That's fine. I don't have to say Rel anymore today. Oh,
Well,
I forgot how long
okay,
this one
no.
went on for, actually.
Oh, well, this
And
is where the
I
one
remember what
Vigar
happens
Q
now.
manages to do it somehow.
No.
Between the
The mana.
it's the minion wave. It's the minion wave doing all of this, and then the one Q finishes him off.
Oh, it's the
And
minion wave
then
doing all of this. You want to see what a minion wave could do? Because, well, God Shelly's got a lesson for you. You don't come to their minion wave talking smack on their rel. As Arca tried to do that, they get the kill, but damn, excellent. They also got shut down. I didn't even realize it at that point, but nonetheless, that's that done. All that silliness and fun. I hope everybody had a great time today, because we had quite the variance of games. I would say all of them up until that last one delivered massively. And then this last one was funky, is the way to say it. We got a funky end to the day.
yeah, absolutely. And of course, we have the other two groups tomorrow by Catchcat and Black Box, so we'll be covering those two groups. See who qualifies for those ones currently. I believe in Group C we have Grey Warwick, and I've forgotten the other team's name. PG Lions at
That's
the
it.
top two at the moment, and then for the last one, it is it's the Polish seed, which is I think it's
Go on,
AGH.
give us the drum roll.
I
Yeah.
believe AGH and
I know the other one is AIX.
No, my memory has completely gone at this point in the day between the other seedings. It
Don't
will
worry.
come to me.
There's
It will
three
come to
teams
me.
all tied up for second in Group D, so you're completely forgiven for not remembering that one, because while today it was relatively cut and dry, I'll say we still only had one game that didn't have standings implications, which was great to see. With how close it is and the fact that tomorrow are both 6-team groups, I am pretty sure every game is going to have standing implication just by sheer volume of teams.
Yeah, just for reference, I've got it up. It is AGH, obviously, in first, as we mentioned, and it is AIX, Red Dragons, and Team 20, all tied at second. So there you go. Those are the three teams. But my name slipped my mind. So there you have it. That's the rundown for tomorrow. Group D will definitely be a bloodbath, I imagine, and to who actually manages to qualify there, because it's 3-2-4-1, so that's still fairly tight even for the first seed there, so very competitive.
So, that's pretty much that put together. We have got half of the team solidified, but make sure you tune in tomorrow. Same time, same place. I believe, what is it? I don't want to say the wrong one. 10 a.m. CET? I'm really bad at time zones, but I'm pretty sure. So it's 11 CET. It's 11 CET is when we start. I'm awful at time zones. Every time, EST. That's it. It's 11 CEST. Thank you, voice in my ears, that will make sure I don't make the mistakes.
Oh yes, because the clocks have changed now because it's summertime now.
Don't I hear that they're
because they went back. They
Get
went
rid of
back
it on the
a few
next
weeks
patch.
ago. So that's why it's like that now. There you go. The world of time zones are a very confusing place because it doesn't even make sense in certain countries because one end of the country is still like.
Hey, we just talk about League of Legends. I don't need to talk about time zones anymore. I'm very pleased with the game quality we had today. I had a great time. Any final words from you? I'm very pleased.
Of course, this broadcast is only made possible by our partners Twitch, Intel, and Twitch Student and Intel, and of course also by our amazing production team and administrators, because we would not be able to do this without them as well. But aside from that, that's it from me.